It's pretty wild to think about how one tiny piece of tech can completely upend an entire city's economy. Well, right now in LA's South Bay, something truly fascinating is happening. A tech boom is sending these massive economic shockwaves through the whole region. And in this exclusive Voxel Labs analysis, we're going to break down exactly how this global industry is creating a very, very local boom. So, this is the big question, right? The central puzzle we're trying to solve. How on earth does a microchip, made in an industrial park in Torrance, lead to a full-blown real estate boom a few miles away on the coast in Redondo Beach? I mean, it seems totally disconnected. But what our data shows is a direct line, a powerful economic chain reaction that is fundamentally reshaping this community. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. Our analysis points to one single core finding. The more advanced the AI chips being developed in one spot, the higher the property values get in another. And look, this isn't just a coincidence. We've actually traced a direct causal link. So let's break down exactly how this works. Okay, so what was the spark that lit this fire? Well, it really comes down to a major strategic move by one company, Navitas. We're calling it the Navitas 2.0 pivot. Essentially, they went all in on a new kind of technology that's now acting as a supercharged economic engine for the entire South Bay. And it all starts with the tech itself. We're talking about something called gallium nitride and silicon carbide chips. Now, you gotta understand, these are not the chips in your laptop. Think of them more like the high-performance engines for the next wave of AI data centers. They're smaller, they're faster, they're way more efficient. But, and this is the important part, you can't just make these things in any old factory. You need incredibly sophisticated, specialized labs. And that need for specialized labs, well, that's the first big ripple effect we tracked. It is completely transforming commercial real estate in Torrance. You know, the old model of just basic warehouses and logistics. Yeah, that's being flipped completely on its head. And wow, this slide really tells the story. It's a tale of two industries right next door to each other. On one side, you have a legacy company, Motorcar Parts of America, and they're reporting a $17 million sales decrease. On the other side, you've got Navitas, raising $100 million just to expand their AI operations. This isn't just about two companies, you know. This is a perfect snapshot of a huge economic shift, from old-school industry to bleeding-edge tech. So here's the absolute game changer. All of a sudden, the value of a big industrial building in Torrance isn't about how many pallets you can stack inside anymore. It's about its technical capability. Can that building support the massive power draw needed for an R&D lab? Can you install a hypersensitive clean room inside? If the answer is yes, then guess what? The value of that property just went through the roof. Okay, so that covers the commercial side of things. But now, let's follow the money. All that new investment pouring into Torrance is creating a ton of very high-paying engineering jobs. And the effect this has is something we're calling the engineer dividend. And it is what's totally reshaping the housing market right next door. Our data shows this really clear geographic split. The deep, specialized work, designing these crazy advanced chips, that happens in what we call the tech node, in the industrial parts of Torrance. But the highly paid talent doing that work, they overwhelmingly choose to live somewhere else. They're flocking to the coastal lifestyle nodes like Redondo Beach. And this, right here, illustrates perfectly why this is so important. I mean, you can look at the stock market for Navitas, and sure, you'll see it bounce around day to day. You can see here on February 10th, it went from about 909 to 922 before the market even opened. But that stock volatility, it doesn't matter nearly as much as the stable, six-figure-base salaries of the engineers. That consistent, reliable income is what provides a rock-solid foundation for the local mortgage market. It's a steady stream of cash. Which brings us to our third ripple effect. And honestly, this is where the story gets even more interesting. The city of Redondo Beach, they're not just some passive bystander watching this happen. Oh no, they're actively making a play to capture and hold on to this new wave of wealth. We're calling it the lifestyle capture. So, how do we know this isn't just some abstract theory? Well, we went straight to the primary source. This right here is the actual city council agenda for Redondo Beach. And when you start digging into the details, you realize this isn't happening by accident at all. It is a deliberate, planned-out strategy, and it's laid out right here in black and white. I mean, just look at who the city is in closed-door talks with. They're hammering out deals with Nike for the waterfront. They're working with the huge Beach Life Music Festival on parking. They're even talking about licensing their own line of city-branded apparel.
You just don't do all of this by chance. This is a coordinated plan.
And that's really the heart of it. These aren't just random city projects. Redondo Beach is intentionally and very strategically building a high-end, resort-grade environment. They are creating the perfect playground designed to capture the disposable income of all those tech experts working just a few miles away.
So when you put all of these pieces together, the tech, the real estate, the salaries, the city planning, what do you get? Well, our analysis points to one big overarching conclusion. The South Bay economy is literally splitting in two. We're seeing the emergence of what we call a bifurcated bay. And just for clarity, bifurcation simply means something is dividing into two separate branches or parts. In this case, it's the local economy and the property market splitting and heading down two very, very different paths. And this, right here, is the new economic reality boiled down to its essence. Property values in Torrance are now driven by a simple technical question: can this building house a chip lab? Meanwhile, just next door, property values in Redondo Beach are driven by a completely different lifestyle question: can this neighborhood entertain a chip engineer? You've got two cities, side by side, now operating on two completely different economic value propositions. And all of this leaves us with a massive question, doesn't it? What's happening in the South Bay isn't some isolated event. It's a local snapshot of a global trend. As these incredibly powerful technologies create these super concentrated pockets of wealth, what does that do to the fabric of the communities around them? What we're seeing here in Torrance and Redondo Beach, well, it might just be a glimpse into the future for cities all over the world. And that's the real question we're left with.